I had been very recently sort of introduced to virtual reality. And until you put on the actual headset, until you actually experience virtual reality for yourself, because I was as cynical as anybody else. My friend was like, "Oh, you got to check this out. It's really incredible." And I was like, whatever. Okay, I'll come check it out as a favor to you. I looked at it. When you put those goggles on and you see how engrossing that is, virtual reality is, and how much it puts you into a whole other world, it's shocking. I mean, it is a complete game changer. And I feel like Shakespeare is universal. It's sort of tied to the past. It's tied to things and ideas that came from, a long time ago, and they're still current. But Shakespeare, even Shakespeare, was constantly messing with sort of new technologies. And all the Shakespeare pieces, all throughout history that people have done have been kind of messing with that. And I think that this will be the first virtual reality piece I've ever directed. It'll probably be one of the first virtual reality pieces that have been directed, full stop. I mean, in many cases. And I think that it's actually kind of perfect that it be Shakespeare, because you're taking this sort of what at least American English language literature is kind of at the root of it, and you're putting it into this new medium. And it's an exciting medium. It's interesting to just conceive of it, and I've been thinking about it ever since we first started to talk about this, because you're, in virtual reality sort of fictional setting, the audience is static, and the audience looks around. They look around everywhere, like 360 plus everything up and below. And so you're sort of flipping the sort of theater in the round concept. A theater that is in the round, the audience is on the outside and the players are on the inside. This is the opposite, where you're in the middle and the audience and the actors rather are playing around you. And there's a lot of things and I think that this is much, much, much more, doing a virtual reality piece is much more like doing theater, in that you cannot, like you can with film, direct the audience's eye through, this is what you're looking at because that's all there is to see. This is going to be different because you have a lot to see. So what we're going to have to do instead is draw people with sound, draw people with movement, draw people with, with a variety of different things that actually have to force them to turn their head, which they're going to have to. Another interesting element of it is that you're there. You're in that world in a way that you cannot do in a theater. Because in a theater, you're in a theater and there's people all around you, but the space that the story encompasses is this. It's just this one screen. This is a different world altogether. So we're going to have to deal with the problems and the advantages that gives us. And I think that there is a certain level of intimacy that we're going to be able to capture, because somebody wearing these goggles and putting the headphones on will hear a whisper brought right up to them, as if somebody came up to them and whispered in their ear. And that is fascinating, like just dealing with that concept. It's also going to have a lot of challenges. The level of acting is going to be difficult, because it will, if it reads false, it's going to read false in such a way that stage, there's a distance. I was in Stomp for a couple of years, and I did a production in Atlanta. It was a 5,000 seat house. I played another 5,000 seat house during the 2 years, but this was the first one I had at the time, and it was awe-inspiring in some ways, but it was also distant, and I wasn't accustomed to it. It took me the whole show to finally kind of get my head around it. You had to be so big. This is the exact opposite of that. This is as vast as that transition was from like 1,500 seat houses to 5,000 seat houses. This is going to be the same in the opposite direction, going from 1,500 seat house to basically one. There's one seat. It's in the middle of the thing. So there's so many different things that we're not really going to be able to know until we've actually done it, until we've actually seen it. But this is territory that I think is absolutely perfect to tackle with Shakespeare.